Who else objects? You're off the team. Get out!
When it comes to the Cobra Kai series that is currently on Netflix, to view all 3 of its seasons, with season 4 on the way, there is a lot that goes into its production. But just as important, there are a series of rules that need to be followed by the cast and crew in order to maintain not just authenticity in certain things they do, but kept from certain spoilers getting out too early. This may seem basic, but there are some key things that they have to know and avoid. So allow us to show you the strict rules the cast of Cobra Kai had to follow. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Spoilers. Let's start off with the most basic of things, shall we? While Cobra Kai may not have been the most dramatic or mystery-filled show out there, it's one that prides itself on keeping the storylines moving and bringing in some twists to help ensure that things don't stagnate or get stale to watch. A great example of this is in Season 3, where the character of Hawk was poised to be an eternal enemy of Miyagi-Do, even breaking Dimitri's arm at one point. But then, in the final episode of the season, he switched it up and came back on the side of light. That scene was a key one and wasn't spoiled, and thus the emotional impact was there. This also goes to things like casting, because a big thing the series loves to do is bring back characters from the Karate Kid movies and show them in their new lives, like when John Kreese in Season 1 or Ali in Season 3. The first was known about by the cast on day 1 because it was a key scene. However, with Ali, actress Elizabeth Shue, they teased her at the end of Season 2, but they themselves didn't know whether she would be able to join them, and thus keeping her arrival quiet was important. It's a basic rule, yes, but it's important if you think about how much a spoiler can impact the show as a whole.
You don't want to do this. I think I do. Somebody's got to teach you to keep your hands to yourself.
Number 7. Body type. No, we're not saying that it's a rule that the actors on Cobra Kai need to look good via a certain body type. However, for a show like this, that's based on the realm of karate and fight scenes, there are some things they need to do and be aware of in terms of their body type. Mainly, they need to make sure they don't go and overtly change their bodies in ways that can affect their character or production. So, things like lots of tattoos, certain piercings, and so on. Furthermore, as many of the main cast fight, they need to be in shape and be ready for the fight scenes that are absolutely coming their way. To be clear, this rule isn't one that applies all the time per se, as obviously, when filming stops, they can return to their regular lives. But when it comes time to film, they need to be sure they're in fighting shape, so that things don't get hampered and time is lost getting them back into the looks and shape they need to have.
You alright? Yeah. Alright, I got you, bud.
Number 6. Be ready for the Hawk. Jacob Bertrand plays one of the best characters in Cobra Kai via Hawk, aka Eli. His character has grown considerably since Season 1, and his now iconic mohawk is something that drew many fans to him. But a subtle rule that he has to follow is about makeup and getting him ready for that hair and other parts of his character. In terms of the mohawk, yes, that hawk is 100% Jacob's own hair, and it takes about an hour or so in order to get it into shape. Sometimes longer, because they oftentimes have to color it a certain way. Even Jacob admits that most of the time in the makeup chair is about putting on hairspray so his hair will stay up. A sacrifice for greatness, no doubt. Which brings us to his tattoo. Don't forget, Hawk has a hawk on his back, and it's very detailed. That tattoo isn't obviously shown in every episode for various reasons, but when it needs to be put on, it can take hours to put it on because of how detailed it is. And they have to do it on his actual back. So he'll move around and sometimes delay things. That's a lot of dedication to ask of one actor, but it's what you have to do to make Hawk, Hawk.
It took my ball 3 seconds to destroy.
Number 5, understand injuries are a part of the game. This one is more of an unspoken rule, but it happens a lot on the Cobra Kai set. The karate that is used in Cobra Kai is very real, 100% real in fact. We'll get into the training for it later, but it's very real, and the choreography is based on the skill levels of the actors and their abilities with certain moves. However, given that many of the actors only learned karate for the show, that means that there are going to be issues and injuries. And in fact, there have been several on set during the first 3 seasons. The first one might surprise you though, as William Zabka actually broke his toe during season 1 of the show. In fact, he talked about it during an interview, and he noted that his toe was broken so bad it was actually in his foot. But because he didn't want the stuntman to take his place, he yanked it out and went back to work. Oof. What's that line about Cobra Kai not being for wimps? Johnny clearly embodies that in real life and fictional life. But he wasn't the only one to get hurt on set. Mary Mouser, who plays Samantha LaRusso, has had multiple injuries on set during her time on the show, including having to go to the ER once because of a broken finger she got during a fight scene. So yeah, she's tough, and her and Zabka's injuries prove that you have to be ready for that when doing a show like this. Number 4, intense training. Given the abilities of cameras and sleight of hand, it would have been easy enough for the Cobra Kai cast to fake karate in certain ways in order to make it easier on the cast and just blaze through filming. But failure and weakness do not exist in this dojo. As a result, all of the cast who are fighting had to learn karate, and some of them had to go through rigorous training just to make things work and make themselves believable on the karate mat. Xolo Maridueña, who plays Miguel, showed this rule in action by noting, "My training was a daily 2 to 4 hour regiment of working with professional stunts, martial arts, boxing, strength, and yoga instructor teams to get me in amazing shape." So yeah, it wasn't easy, but nothing worth doing is. And the show wouldn't be the same if the karate and fight scenes were overtly fake instead of intense and very personal. Oh, and if you're wondering if Ralph Macchio and William Zabka had to do this intense training, you bet they did. In fact, they had to go through more of it because of their advanced age. Macchio even admitted that there's a lot of injury prevention that they have to do given the work they're putting on their joints.
Joining Cobra Kai is a privilege.
Number 3, no negativity. This is actually a rule that Netflix works into the scripts of just about every one of their original shows, including big ones like The Umbrella Academy. In short, if you have a beef with someone on set, you settle it on set or you don't talk about it. And most importantly, you don't talk about it to the press. They're 100% adamant on this rule, and there are even fines worked into the contract that'll be enacted if someone decides to go and legit badmouth someone in an interview. Tensions on the set is one thing, but having to deal with media covering the tensions on set, that's another, and thus you can't badmouth anyone.
I gotta be honest, LaRusso. I thought you put up more of a fight.
Number 2, rotating door. Here's the thing, while many shows will go out of their way to keep a certain core cast for one reason or another, others acknowledge that forcing them into the show would be pointless at times. This happens in Cobra Kai Season 3 via Aisha Brown, Sam's best friend from Season 1 and 2 of Cobra Kai. While many loved her character, the showrunners just couldn't think of a good story for her in Season 3, so they wrote her out. To be clear, they said she could come back, not unlike a certain bully returning from Season 1, but that's the rule of Hollywood. You're needed until you're not.
Hey, Yasmin! Huh? What? Let me help you to your car.
Number 1, be true to the franchise. This one is actually more of a rule for the showrunners, one that they follow to the letter. Because the producers and showrunners behind Cobra Kai are 100% diehard fans to the series. And they're the ones who made this show happen behind the scenes. So for them, their biggest rule is to be true to the franchise they love, to the portrayal of the characters, to the items used to reference past movies, to the karate itself. They want everything to feel like it's 100% Karate Kid. They've done well so far, and that's why this show has been such a success. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Cobra Kai and how the cast has to follow certain rules in order for things to progress smoothly for them? Which of these rules do you think is a bit unfair in one form or another? Do you look at these rules and understand why they have them? What are you looking forward to the most in Cobra Kai Season 4? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.